Hey there, everyone. I want to officially welcome you to my How to Rap workshops. This is the introductory episode. I'm going to be taking you guys through a journey as we go through this course. But I am ready to get you guys kicked off with our introductory episode. So let's go ahead and switch over to the presentation and get you guys started on this first episode. Okay, everyone. So welcome to my How to Rap workshop. This workshop is brought to you by TWELFTHS. My name is TWELFTHS, better known as Asses in some contexts. You can find me on all the digital streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, you name it, Cobuzz. I'm all there. Just search Acids, ASCIDZZ. I am the founder and president of TWELFTHS, which stands for Those with Ears Let Feel, Think, Hear, and Speak. I've been a top rated seller on Fiverr for the past 3, 4 years or something like that as a ghostwriter. I've written hundreds of songs internationally for different people, probably thousands of songs. I mean, not counting my own. If I count my own, it's thousands. But um, if I talk about people whom I've written for internationally, I've written hundreds of songs for over 100 people at least. And I have some 50 to 60 songs that are currently published on digital streaming platforms. And then I also have Bandcamp and SoundCloud and things of that nature with, free stuff. I've been releasing music since about 2015, 2016. So, yeah, I really do this. I really just want to start us off first and foremost by letting it be known that I am not a rapper. Okay. Actually, being considered a rapper is one of my least favorite things about being a black person. Yeah. Because it's like when you tell somebody that you do music, instantly they assume that you're a rapper. And yeah, bro. No, I'm not a rapper. I never wanted to be a rapper. I've always been a producer first. I've been producing music since I was producing music well before I started rapping. Okay. Um, I actually my first forays into music, although they were rapping, because like every black kid from like a major city, um, started off, beating on tables, being in little rap battles and things like that, freestyling and all of that. So I definitely had that, but I would say my first serious forays into music was when I got a guitar at about 7 years old. My great aunt bought me a guitar, and I've played in orchestras and things of that nature. But the point is that I'm not a rapper. Okay, even though I am very skilled, and that's like one of the primary things that people know me for. Actually, I would say instead that my primary interest is in poetry. You know, even before I picked up the guitar, I remember being in grade school very young, and I picked up these books from Shel Silverstein. I remember Runny Babbitt. I remember Where the Sidewalk Ends. I remember Falling Up and The Light in the Attic. And man, I remember when I was reading these books, I couldn't put them down. And I just loved them so much, especially books like Runny Babbitt. Shel Silverstein really took me over the edge when it came down to just how beautiful, and intentional we could be about writing. Um, I've always appreciated the large imagery and the cleverness and stuff like that, the storytelling that comes along with being a poet, writing poetry. Here I've actually shared a bit of an excerpt from Runny Babbitt. This is like in the very beginning, just to give you a little taste of Shel Silverstein's cleverness. Because the book Runny Babbitt is about speaking in like a weird speak. And man, he just does it so cleverly, so sharply. And I'm going to just read this excerpt to you. So it says, way down in the green woods where the animals all play, they do things and they say things in a different sort of way. Instead of saying purple hat, they all say purple pat. Instead of saying feed the cat, they just say keyed the fat. So if you say let's beat a rook, that's Billy as can see. You're talking Runny Babbitt talk, just like Mim and he. Runny Fatta Hamley. Matter of fact, he had a Southern two bristers, a dummy, and a mad. His mama fed him Merrick Kilk and Parrot Kai and such, and all of them were happy in their cozy honey butch. Runny got a present, a lovely purple pat. He put it on and asked his owls, what do you think of that? One said, ooh, it's storable. One said, yuck, it hinks. Now Runny Babbitt never asks what other people pink. And it's just incredible, man. Shel Silverstein, just absolutely fantastic. I actually used to think that Shel Silverstein, there used to be a thing where when I remember just growing up for so long, where it was said that Shel Silverstein was the creator, was Dr. Seuss. And that was the thing I remember reading, Green Eggs and Ham and Cat in the Hat and all those sorts of things as well. And those were cool, right? Like those were cool in the beginning. But when I began, again, where the sidewalk ends and, falling up and Runny Babbitt, I was like, oh yeah, these are next level. Nowadays, I really don't take as much time to read poetry books. These are like some of the only poetry books that I've ever read. I find most poetry books to be a little too soppy for me and just like artificial and fake, but these are very fun and these are just awesome. Like these are just, I really, really recommend these books for anybody who just needs that extra example of the ingenuity, cleverness, and stuff like that of poetry, this thing that we do called writing. Now, as we go through this workshop, I just want to make sure that we establish our objectives at a very base level. In this course, we're going to talk about the core elements of rap, which are rhyme, rhythm, flow, and storytelling. We're going to be building confidence by encouraging participants to write and perform their own lyrics. We're going to foster creativity by teaching techniques for crafting clever wordplay, metaphors, and punchlines. We're going to explore culture by connecting participants to rap's history and its role in self-expression. We're going to collaborate by creating a supportive environment for sharing and freestyling. All of the workshops aim to create an inclusive, respectful, and productive environment for all writers, provide feedback, strategies, and resources that writers need to improve their writing, and encourage collaboration between writers through active conversation and participation. Now, I want us to be very mindful about some certain things about these workshops. First and foremost, as I've already made kind of clear, I'm pretty sensitive to the notion of, just calling, especially me, a rapper, right? Because the concept of a rapper has been somewhat siphoned off to the idea of just base poetry, because it's at a base, it is poetry, and in many respects, it seems like rap is like that thing that Black people do. So it's like poetry has been segregated, or like this creative writing thing has been segregated into, well, if you write poetry and you're Black, you rap. And with this too, and we'll kind of talk about this as well as we go on and talk about, the history of rap and stuff like that, right? And what's going on. But being a so-called rapper has come with a certain sort of characterization, right? Like, even if you go ahead and you, for example, speak to AI or something about, doing rap, then it's going to do this thing where it like tries to speak in slang and, abbreviations, shortening and all of this. And yeah, it's just not I don't like it. You know what I mean? Because not all rappers are like that. Not all rappers are all yo yo and you know slurring their words and all of that type of stuff. You know, rap can actually be a very and is a very intelligent endeavor. And you know, hip hop just had its 50-year anniversary as well. And in those 50 years, it is definitely evident and obvious that you know this genre, this style has grown up very much. Now, really quickly, there's another thing that I want to highlight here, which is that I will constantly refer to this thing that we are doing as rap. I don't want to call it hip hop. Okay. If you go through and, for example, let's say you find somebody like KRS-One, who is a pioneer, who is an advocate very much for hip hop. Let's say like you read the hip hop gospel, the gospel of hip hop, excuse me. You know, you'll come and you'll read some certain things about because you'll know about like these separations between you know hip hop and rap, and especially these people, you know, hip hop heads and stuff like that who feel like they can, you know, bogard or like they feel the need to really guard the integrity of the hip hop style. And I love that, right? I love that. But at the same time, some of these guys go so hard that they really cannot see past their own noses. You know, they really cannot see past their own perceptions of what they think hip hop is supposed to be. And it actually, in a large way, alienates many people who both don't fit into what the hip hop heads consider to be, you know, the new rap, right? To consider separate from them, but those same hip hop heads wouldn't accept those people into what they're doing. So I'm not going to sit here and try to nitpick to you about, you know, the hip hop and apostrophe and how you're going to spell it and, you know, the history and all. I'm not going to do it to you like that. I'm going to show it to you in a way that I experienced hip hop, the way that I see hip hop and the things that I've seen, what has allowed me to enjoy it for so long. Because after all, you know, people reach out to me and they want me to write their songs because they like my representation of it. They like my skill. I'm not just doing this because, oh, I feel like people want to learn to be rappers. I'm doing this because I've had so many people ask me to do programming, to do classes, to do a course on how to rap. And so I'm providing that and I'm giving it to you in my taste and my flavor. I'm not doing this in a way to like in a generic way to tell you things that you already know and stuff like that, you know? Which brings me to my next important point. I I'm going into this course with a presumption that you already have a baseline foundation of rap, right? Like, first of all, you want to rap because you've heard of rapping, you think it's cool, and or you see other people gaining, you know, recognition for it or whatever, and you want some glory for yourself. So you already have an idea of what rap is, and you know, so my only job is to really reinforce that, to fill in some of those earlier gaps, you know, and help you with some of those things that you've neglected to help you so that you can write your own stuff, and get into your own grind. You know, like I said too, you know, one of the biggest things that we're going to be doing here beyond writing is also going to be preparing you to perform. You know, I need you to build your confidence. I need you to build your, you know, surety in your skills and being able to not just write, but to be able to perform. So we're definitely going to get you guys into that. But like I said, I just don't want to insult your intelligence in terms of making it seem like you don't know what rap is. You know what rap is. That's why you're here. Okay. Now, in order for you to be effective in this class, in this course, you really just need three things. Okay. You need a brain, you need a way to take notes, and you need to pay attention. Okay. And it's really that simple. All right. First, to give you a bit of an introduction, some more to me, my favorite rappers, because it's hard to have a number one, honestly. Eminem and Big Pun. Okay. Eminem and Big Pun are interchangeably my number one and number two favorite rappers. The primary reason why I would say that these guys are my favorite rappers are because they were ahead of their times. Big Pun with his flows. Both of these guys really were ahead of time with their flows and whatnot. And then because they were ahead of time with their flows, they were also ahead of time with their storytelling, with the content of their material. You know what I mean? Eminem was particularly raw, clever, funny, and he broke barriers and stuff like that in that regard. Lyrically, of course, I'm talking about. I don't care about anything else. And Big Pun, same thing, man. Big Pun with the flows and just all of that. The guy was just absolutely lethal, ahead of his time. Both of these guys played real impacts on me, showing me that wow, like yeah, when these guys came out, they probably were really, really monumental. I don't know how much they were really, really appreciated. I mean, clearly Eminem is easily considered one of the greatest rappers of all time. He's like top five in like everybody's list, or at least was. Now times have changed a little bit, but Eminem should be top five on everybody's list, top 10 at least on everybody's list. And Big Pun, I really feel the same, even though I know that he won't really get that sort of respect. His career was somewhat short lived because he was big. And on top of that, it's just, you know, yeah, when you really go through and you also realize the times that these guys, were working, and what was going on around them versus what these guys were doing, yeah, you would really really understand why I appreciate these guys and why I value these guys as much as I do. Now, let's get a couple of other conversations out of the way. Okay, I definitely take Notorious Big over Pac. Okay, uh, I say that Biggie was a way better rapper than Pac, more clever, more creative, more thoughtful, more lethal. Big is a way better rapper than Pac was. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Secondly, I would say probably my favorite rap group is State Property, and I mean beyond the fact that these guys are from Philly and all of that, you know, these guys are just hard hitters, lyrically. Of course, you have other rap groups like Slaughterhouse and Run DMC and NWA and Public Enemy and all of that. But, State Property, when it really comes down to it, I feel like this group of guys right here, definitely worth listening to. And I grew up on these guys, and probably more than anything, I think I valued them more individually. Maybe I put a lot more stock into their individual work than I do their group work, but I don't know. I don't really think so. And shout out to PD Crack too, because PD Crack used to follow me on Twitter, so on my old Twitter. Now, as well, I give it up to Kendrick Lamar. I totally agree with Kendrick that there is no big three. It's just big me, big Kendrick. I think that out of the big three, Kendrick is number one. Drake is easily number two, and J. Cole is number three. And there are a number of reasons for that I don't really need to go into and explain. But definitely when it comes down to those guys, I'm taking Kendrick over Drake, and I'm taking Kendrick over J. Cole any day. And then here I have two of my favorite female rappers right now. Not going too far in the back because actually, if I really think about it, I have Lauren Hill and I have, um, damn, I'm trying to think of her name. Her name literally just slipped my mind. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can grab her name real quick. Oh, I'm trying to remember her name. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember her name. Heather B, man. Heather B, man. Heather B. Um, and I feel like Lauren Hill as well should be up there. But, really though, Rhapsody, I'm really, really vibing with Rhapsody right now. I'm loving Rhapsody. She's easily one of my top female rappers right now. Same thing with Snow the Product. I really rock with Snow the Product. I haven't heard as much of her stuff as I've heard Rhapsody. At least I haven't been listening to her as recently, but I do feel like she's slept on. So yeah, Snow the Product, she's pretty dope too. And then of course, me being from Philly, I just decided to throw in a bunch of Philly rappers who I feel like are just some of the greatest. Black Thought being number one. Um, probably my number one favorite Philly rapper. Not probably, but like definitely. Um, Beanie Siegel, of course, man. Beanie Siegel just lethal with it. Meek Mill. I gotta just Meek Mill. I can't. I feel like we have to put Meek Mill on that list. You know what I mean? Just because of the amount of legwork that he's done. You know what I mean? Clearly, this is just a guy that we can't, step over. But I really don't have Meek as high as any of these other guys on this list. On just being honest, just being honest. But just shout out to Meek and Dream Chasers and everything. And then right now, I have two of the hottest guys coming out of Philly right now, Amir Ali and OT the Real. I could have also had OT7 Kwani up there, you know what I mean? But I guess I didn't think about him until just now. But yeah, these are some of my favorite Philly rappers as well, coming out right now. Now, also, just as a little token, because like I said, I am a producer first. I'm not a rapper, really. These are some of my favorite rap producers. Ninth Wonder was my first favorite rap producer. So shout out to Ninth. And The Alchemist, of course. The Alchemist is like everybody's favorite rap producer, and easily one of the most recognizable faces in the game. Um, The Alchemist, both of these guys definitely helped to inspire me in my first forays into producing rap beats and stuff like that. And then I guess in a more recent or flavorful note, as I begin to develop some more, two of my other huge inspirations for production were Wonder Girl and Cardiac Flatline. Both of these guys just incredible, incredible producers. And for me, it's about consistency, right? Like it's about consistency more than anything. And I would say that in terms of consistency and enjoyability, these two are just some of the hardest to ever do it. Now, I want us to get started on our first exercise, and this exercise is going to be the basis of all of the exercises that we do in this course, though all the exercises won't be the same, but word association. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you a word. And then what I want you to do is I want you to write down words that rhyme with that word or are related to the word. These words can be opposites as well to the word that I give you. But the point is that they're relational. I want you to really get your brain thinking, um, just from giving you this one word, and write down the things that come to mind when you think of this word. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to jot down all your ideas. So let me go ahead and get a timer going for you. So you can do this live with me. Okay. And your word is new. So you go ahead and get started, and I will hear from you in 5 minutes. All right. Well, there goes your 5 minutes. I wonder what you've come up with. I went ahead and I did this exercise myself to help you out. As you can see, we have words like new, do, true. But then you also have fresh, right? Because like fresh, that's associated with newness, right? Brand new, brand spanking new, unique is new. You, screw, stew, spew, slew, imbue, drew, glue, canoe, you, loo, grew, clue, blue, shoe, undo, Peru, anew, moo, ooh, skew, old, outdated, right? Because now, because you also have the opposites, right? I told you you can do opposites. So old, outdated, antiquated, archived, right? If something is no longer new, it could be archived. Now you have new as well. Again, right word association. So IG post, social media post, a new post. Um, a social media post can be new. A release, a project can be new. A gift or a present can be seen as new. It's a new item. Something that's new can be considered spontaneous, right? You might get new clothes. You might get new skills. You might get new confidence. You might move into a new environment. You might see new ways to do things. There's also the new, right? That and the idea that people mess up the difference between new and new. Few, boo. It could be a new day. Um, Something that's new is clean. Something that's new could be fresh off the press. When something is new, you need promotion, marketing, advertising. You may want to show off something new. Something that's new may be exclusive, or you may be exclusive with something that is new. Something that's new can be exciting. Something that's new can be something unopened or untouched. Something that's new, it's something is generally most desirable when it's new. So when something is new, you get it at the original price. When something is instead of something new, you may get hand me downs. Um, when you have something new, people could be jealous of you, right? It can generate jealousy. Something that's new is wanted. Something that's new, when something is new, you might hear available now or now in stores. Um, you may think of a commercial. There may be a commercial that's put in place for something that's new. You know, when something is new, you may think, right, especially as a creator, you may think like, what can I do with this, this thing that's new, right? Or being confused about what to do with something that you've never seen before, right? So never seen before, something that's new may be hard to categorize. So these are just some of the things that I would just, it's an example of ways that I want you to think when it comes down to generating ideas in these sorts of exercises. Okay. The biggest point of this is big picture thinking. Okay. This exercise will be necessary as you go to build out full songs, let alone verses and hooks. Okay. Think of songs as entities. They tell full stories of their own, even when they aren't really supposed to mean anything at all. A song that doesn't mean anything becomes interpreted as just that. All right. Now, rapping, poetry, writing, it requires big picture thinking. Okay. You want to get into your head that, it's not going to be in the beginning, it may be simple, right? And I know this because I've been writing literally all my life. But in the beginning, it may not be as simple as just, getting rhymes coming to you like this and that and having the whole thing put together. Now you can be careless. You can be careless and just throw a bunch of, words that rhyme together, but you can also put together just beautiful images. You can put together beautiful stories and stuff like that as well, just with a little bit more care, a little bit more caution. So I really, really want to make sure that we have that etched into your mind as we continue to move forward, that one of the biggest things about this is helping you guys to create things that actually mean something. I'm not here to just let you, be negligent and careless with your, songwriting process. People want to genuinely be able to write great songs and meaningful songs and get their hearts and thoughts out. You're talking to a guy who has made people cry, with his writings, right? You're talking to somebody who has really, touched people's hearts, man, and helped people. Like people haven't asked me to write songs for them, just because they want to sound cool. People have asked me to write love songs. People have asked me to write farewell songs, like songs about people who they care about and things of that nature. And if you're going to be somebody who does these sorts of things, you need to be able to think bigly, and you need to be able to have patience with yourself, and just generally with the the inspirational, heavenly, ethereal realm. So, with all this in mind, let's do the exercise again, but with a different word. And this time, I'll give you 10 minutes to come up with as many rhymes and associations as possible. Okay? You can get the timer started back up again. And this time, your word will be create. So let's get started. All right. And there's your 10 minutes. So now, in conclusion of today's workshop, I just want to say these exercises are enough to prepare you for what you should expect over the course of these workshops. All right. Rapping effectively is about big picture thinking. If you can't think big, you will have a hard time making great songs, let alone finishing them. It is the most annoying thing in the world for so many people to be able to finish their songs. And these exercises will help you just get better and better and better at the routes that you can take. Um, yeah, so I hope that you guys enjoyed these exercises and today's episode. I look forward to taking you guys through the rest of the journey. I've been your host, Después, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Please comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed what you have seen today, and have fun rapping.